Hi there, hope you're all doing well. This week I painted up Captain Busk Hasker for Warmachine. I don't play Warmachine myself, but the mini looks cool, so I'm going to get some colour onto him. Starting off the process, I primed him black and used reddish grey all over the cloth clothing and the half cape. I found some artwork online for this character, so I'm hoping the colour scheme is actually matching what it should be, and I'm just going to go with that for now anyway. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Also join Discord using the link in the description, where you can share anything you have been hobbying on, or just hang out and chat. I hope you enjoyed the video and find it useful. After getting all the base coating finished off, I came in using warm grey to go over the majority again. I just leave that reddish grey in the deeper recesses and the shadowed parts. Since I'm painting fabric, I try to keep this layer fairly scratchy just to get a bit more texture in there. I now finish off the cloth with grimy grey, going over all of the edges and the tops of the folds, again in a scratchy pattern to push that texture even further. Moving on to the leather parts, I start off with a base coat of burnt umber. Since I have this out, I also do the base, just in case the texture paste comes off after a while in the future. There isn't much leather on this mini, but it still takes a while to get this step finished, as a lot of it is around the light cloth. The nice and quick midtones are now done by mixing in some British khaki and just going over all of the raised parts, leaving that burnt umber in the recesses and shadows. After that relatively quick midtone on the leather, I finished them off with an edge highlight of pure British khaki. But this is not the only reason I'm using British khaki. I'm also going over all of the yellow parts of the armour, as this will be the base coat and the eventual shadow colour. With the base coating on the armour finished off, I can get started with building up the light values by mixing in some sand yellow. I start off with a lot of the armour being covered by this mix and establishing an overall brighter colour on the armour. After the first mix, I began adding in some more sand yellow and pushing up the areas of the panels that will be in the light. This step is what will be seen as the main highlight colour across all of these parts, with the final highlight just being some more sand yellow across the edges, adding those finishing touches to the yellow armour. There won't be any washes going on this mini, so this is the reason I don't push this too far. I tend to use washes to push the highlights back down a little bit, but this time I'm holding back some more as I don't want to push it too far and make it really bright. With the yellow finished off, I start on the blue parts of the armour, which get a couple of coats of abyss blue for the darkest shadows. This is then followed up by a mid-tone of witching hour blue. These areas take up a lot less space on the Mini as the yellows, so I don't see the point in mixing in colours to get a tighter gradient. The Triad from 2 thin coats will probably be enough for these. Sticking with the Triad, the final highlight of these parts is done with Leviathan blue, just across the upper parts of the panels and the edges. Now that the bulk of the armour is done, I moved on to the skin and the leather across the grenades, kicking off the base coat of boar hide. I'm not too sure what my thought process was on the skin for this one. It's rather dark, but I solved this by just going over the majority of game, a mixture of boar hide and Chrono's flesh. I do leave some of that pure boar hide in the deeper shadows and recesses for some depth. This is also used as the mid-tone on the leather casings at this point. Now that the skin is looking a little bit more natural, I start to add in some highlights with Chrono's flesh across all of the areas facing towards the light. For the grenade casing, I use this as the final highlight, just touching up the edges and the centers for the light values. And then a finishing touch to the skin, I brought up the sharpest edges with Ares flesh. Moving on to the final parts of the Mini, the silver sections, which I will be doing a very basic non-metallic metal. Not so much painting reflections, I'm more painting the light values as they were a matte surface. To start with, I base all of these parts with a mix of Doom Death Black and English Grey. Because I am building up the light values, there are a couple of mixes adding in more and more English Grey as I go up, covering a smaller and smaller area each time. This is the same process I would use when painting non-metallic metal properly, the only difference is where I'm placing the reflections. After the couple of mixes, I moved on to the pure English Grey. This is pretty much the final highlight, just in the very centers of the parts that I've already been bringing up. But I do come in and finish off the sharper edges with a bit of blue-grey mixed in as well. I was about to base the Mini at this point when I noticed in the artwork there are some glowy bits on the sword. These parts get a quick once over with Leviathan blue and blue-grey. You could push them a little bit further with pure blue-grey, but these parts are pretty tiny. I didn't really see the need to add any extra in there. And that will be it for Captain Busk. I added some texture paste and tufts to the base just to finish it off. Considering I didn't use any washes on this Mini, I like how he came out. I was worried I wouldn't get enough contrast on there, and it's not too bad. I guess I'll push the contrast a little bit further, but that's just for next time I try this. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. You can also join Discord using the link in the description, where you can share anything you have been hopping on, or just hang out and chat. For those of you who want to pick up some painter supplies or some new minis, there are a couple of video links in the description below. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, drop a like and subscribe for more content. Most importantly though, be kind to each other.